Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first networking event on the Greener Northwest Europe. We are pleased to see so much interest in this event with over 500 registered participants. Today's event is threefold. It is an opportunity for you to learn more about the impact of our projects, network with other stakeholders working in your field, and know more about the future NWE program. We will be together for 2 hours until noon. We'll start with a 30-minute plenary session, during which our speakers will discuss our program's achievements and perspectives. Then you will be able to join the thematic session you registered for. The first part of those breakout sessions will be dedicated to presentations. In the second part, you will be invited to join virtual roundtables, during which you will meet with peers in a smaller setting. We'll then all gather again for a few words of conclusions. All parts of the event, except for the roundtable discussions, will be recorded. Without further ado, I would now like to hand over to Niklas Nienass, member of the European Parliament, who has kindly agreed to formally open our event. Mr. Nienass, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much and welcome everyone. The Interreg Northwest Europe is not a success story. It is thousands of success stories. 55,000 people, more than 55,000 people have benefited in the past year from Interreg. So it is 55,000 success stories. Over 1,000 jobs created in the last year. And that also means 1,000 success stories. And the list is very long. And especially if we look at everything that the Interreg Northwest Europe has already done to support the energy-friendly economy, I think there's a ton of knowledge already there. And that is very good because it shows two things. First of all, Europeans can really work together. And second of all, they find the best solutions when they work together. So I think what you've done in the past is not so much a place to stop, but really to accelerate and really to take that information, that knowledge that you've achieved and prepare it for the future, because you all know that the biggest crisis we have and we face at the moment still is the climate crisis. It will, for the next several years and maybe decades, be the driving focus for our politics. And it's very important to deliver on that for the people, but also, of course, for the economy and for the region and for Europe as a whole. So therefore, I'm very happy to see and have, in preparation of this meeting, I took some time to look deeper into the findings and the results of Interreg Northwest Europe. And I'm really happy to see especially one project, the climate active neighborhoods, that was really successful. It helped over 1,900 households, and it supported the reduction of carbon dioxide. So those are projects that we need to see more in the future. And I hope that this event today will also help you doing that, because looking forward to the next funding period, you all know that we will focus way more on the decarbonization of our economy and of our society as a whole. So therefore, I hope that the experience that you already did will help to support on that. But I also hope that you use the new possibilities that we have chosen to implement in the whole funding scheme will also help you to develop even more good examples and good projects to reduce carbon dioxide, but also benefit socially and economically the people of Europe. For example, we have enabled CLD, so community-led local development projects, to be supported with additional co-financing by the European Union. I hope that this tool will be handy for you to deliver on the promises that we make for the European Union. Also, on the last note, I personally can tell you that the Interreg projects is very much loved by the Commission on Regional Affairs. It is not so much loved, to be quite honest, by the Council of Europe or by the European Council, but we will get there. And I believe that in future, the Interreg regions and the Interreg program will play a greater role If we want to bring Europe more together, if we want more issues to be solved, we need to work together, and we need to extend Interreg as a general engine for that. So I'm very hopeful that in future, your role, you will play a crucial role in the development of the European Union, and that we as European Parliament will accelerate that role in the future as well. Thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you especially much for taking the time to get together, to talk about what the future holds and to network on these very important issues. It is you who brings the change in the cross-border region. So thank you very much for that, and enjoy today's conference.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nienass, for a very relevant introduction to our event and for highlighting the importance of environmental topics in the EU agenda, but also for highlighting how cooperation can help achieve those goals. You're welcome to now interact with us via Slido during our panel discussion. To do so, open another tab in your browser or use your phone and type sli.io. And the code for the event is #GreenerNWE. You can ask questions, but you can also like other people's questions. And at the end of our panel discussion, our panelists will answer some of the most liked questions. So we have 3 speakers with us today that I am very pleased to introduce, and they are here to discuss Interreg NWE's achievements in 2014-2020 and its perspectives for 2021-2027. I would first like to introduce Anne Vedzell, Director of the Europe Department for the Region Hauts-de-France, Managing Authority of the NWE program. Anne, welcome. We also have with us Térence Lecoq, working for Wallonie-Bruxelles International. He is representing Belgium, which is the chair of our program this year. Térence, thank you for joining us. And last but not least, Mathieu Mori, Interreg Northwest Europe's program director, who is taking part in the discussion as well. Mathieu, welcome. Okay, so we are going to start by taking stock and looking back. Mathieu, what can you tell us about our program's achievements since 2015 and reason to be proud of what has been accomplished so far?
Thank you very much, Perrine, and thank you also to Niklas Nienass for his very inspiring introduction. It's tremendously important for us to know that we can count on the support of active members of the European Parliament. Thank you also to my fellow panelists and to you all for joining us today. The northwest of Europe covers a very populated area, a dynamic, innovative, and relatively wealthy part of the world, responsible for the production of 46% of the EU GDP. Unfortunately, this comes at a cost. We are the biggest CO2 emitters and one of the highest energy consuming regions in the EU. On the other hand, we are a terribly innovative and qualified part of Europe, and it is our program's ambition to help actors cooperate wherever they are, work together, share the best of what they have to offer to make Northwest Europe a better and a greener place to live in. To that aim, our current program has allocated 376 million euros to finance more than 100 projects and around 1,000 partners. And these investments have an impact on our territory. Next slide, please. On that slide, you can see some expected results on green topics we have been very active on: energy retrofitting in housing, energy efficiency, renewable energy, or greener mobility. I would also like to highlight the fact that we have developed incredible expertise on some specific issues, leading even to the setup of some of the most innovative clusters of projects in Europe on the topics of ocean energy and green hydrogen, for instance. Something important to us is helping our projects maximize their impact through increased uptake, rollout of results, or by funding unforeseen benefits that might have arisen during the lifetime of the project. To that end, we have earmarked 30 million euros towards capitalization in the current period in order for our successful projects to continue making a real difference for our territories and citizens. The current pandemic has showed once more the need for solidarity and cooperation. I would like to commend all project partners who have kept their projects running with a high level of engagement in these difficult times. The profound fragility and uncertainty related to the COVID crisis and its consequences have clearly demonstrated the need to shape a different way of living. All the projects funded by our program contribute to this change by improving the way we produce, consume, work, eat, travel, in short, live. Now, more than ever, we are proud of our stakeholders' achievements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mathieu, for this overview. I would like to remind our participants that they can ask questions via Slido, sli.do, and the code for the event is #GreenerNWE. The results you mentioned, Mathieu, they are very much the outcome of cooperation between different partners throughout the territory. And since cooperation is at the heart of cohesion policy, I would like to ask you one, Anne, to what extent has the NWE program contributed to strengthening cohesion in Northwest Europe?
Thank you so much, Perrine. And it is a pleasure to be with you here today. As you can see on the next slide, the territorial coverage of our program is really good. There are projects involving partners from almost all regions in Northwest Europe. Strong cooperation, exchange of ideas and knowledge take place between these stakeholders. And this is so important to reduce disparities between regions and strengthening cohesion. It is also interesting to mention that there's a really balanced repartition between public and private partners, almost 50-50%, and also per type of stakeholders. 30% of higher education and research partners, 24% of SMEs enterprises, and 16% for public authorities. So it's really balanced. Of course, some regions continue to be really well represented, while others are less involved. So we need a continued effort in the future to get as much as possible a fully balanced repartition of partners and funding throughout Northwest Europe. We have also on the next slide the repartition per budget, which is quite similar to that of the partners. And there are slight differences because they're very active partners in some specific regions. I just take the example of Scotland with partners involved on marine energy topics, for example. What you can see on these maps is that the territorial coverage has contributed to strengthen cohesion between the regions and has created a framework where stakeholders can work, exchange, and cooperate together over the whole area. However, this is only the starting point, because projects will now focus on their long-time efforts and effects and ensure a durability of results. There will be an impact on project and results beyond the territorial coverage seen on the map to other territories, other stakeholders, and other economic sectors, which is really important.
Thank you very much, Anne, for your comments on those two maps. You just spoke about NWE's territorial coverage, and I am sure that our participants are very curious to find out about the next geographical area for Interreg NWE 2021-2027. So could you tell us a bit more about this map that is coming up very quickly, and how it differs from the current one, please, Anne?
Yes, and the map is coming. It shows us then the program area for 2021-27. In blue, you can see the regions involved in the current program, and they will be part of the next one. You see Belgium, Ireland, Luxembourg, Switzerland, the northern part of France and the western part of Germany and the Netherlands. And we are glad that Switzerland stays in the program and sees the interest and the need for future cooperation. In red, you have the 6 new regions from the Netherlands and Germany that will join the Northwest Europe area. And we are really happy to welcome them in the Northwest Europe program. And we know that some of them are with us this morning. So there are the 3 regions from the Netherlands, Groningen, Friesland, and Drenthe. And they have a lot of common themes and challenges for our future cooperation. There could be water technology, bioeconomy, but so much more interesting topics to share. There are also 3 regions from Germany, Bremen, Leine-Weser, Weser-Ems, that also share a lot of characteristics that we can find in the current area with common challenges, among them climate change or also innovation for the future of Europe. Of course, we must mention that the UK government has announced that it will not be pursuing participation in European territorial cooperation programs for 21 and 27. And of course, among which is Interreg Northwest Europe. Perhaps to conclude about these geographical aspects, there will be new opportunities for stakeholders to cooperate in this Northwest Europe territory, and we hope that you will find partners in all parts of this new geographic. There are specificities and there are topics like the greener Northwest Europe with big assets and challenges to be tackled. And I think that Térence will give us more input about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Anne, for presenting Interreg NWE's territory for the next programming period. Indeed, like you just mentioned, 2021 has started already. And so as the process aimed at designing our next program, Térence, could you give us some insight on the preparations of the next program, please?
Thank you, Perrine. Hello, everyone. I will start with a few words on the process we're in to elaborate the future program. So about 1 year ago, a task force bringing together all the program bodies was launched with the objective to design the future program. Up to now, 10 meetings have been organized, plus many working groups meetings. And between February and March of this year, a consultation was open in order to collect and take into account the expectations of all the stakeholders in the elaboration of the program. We received more than 400 contributions, which I think demonstrates a strong interest in this future program. Our objective is to submit a first draft to the European Commission this summer to have their feedback by the beginning of next year and to launch the first call for project in spring next year. At least this is the planning we're expecting and we're hoping to follow. Now, if we're looking at the thematic orientations and the types of projects, it all remains to be confirmed because the discussions are still ongoing. So what I will present here might not be entirely included in the future program. However, it's already possible to give a general picture on the main trends. There are 5 priorities that had been identified, and 2 should focus more on innovation and inclusiveness. But as we're speaking today about a greener Northwest Europe, you can see on the slide the 3 first priorities, which are particularly relevant regarding this theme. Smart climate resilience for Northwest Europe territories, smart and just energy transition, and transition towards a place-based circular economy. Together, the 5 priorities will aim at promoting a green, smart, and just transition in the Northwest Europe territories. And within each of these priorities are some more specific objectives. For the first priority, these are related to nature protection, biodiversity, reduction of pollution, as well as climate change adaptation and disaster risk prevention resilience, which are aspects that were not necessarily covered in the current program. For the second priority, objectives are related to the promotion of energy efficiency and the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as well as the promotion of renewable energy. And for the last priority, the objective is to promote a transition to a circular and resource-efficient economy. There will probably be a stronger focus on project dissemination, and project might have a stronger territorial dimension or give a larger place for citizen engagement. But as I said, this all remains to be confirmed. The project-related processes are also likely to change quite a bit, whether it is the development phase, the application procedure, or the assessment criteria. So to conclude, I would say that the new program will be different from the current one on several aspects, and therefore applicants will need to be careful and take those changes into account when applying. So thank you and stay tuned.
Thank you very much, Térence, for sharing with our participants the latest information on the future Northwest Europe program. I would like to ask you before we go into the Q&A session, if any of you has any last comment they want to share with our audience. Yes, Mathieu, please go ahead.
Thank you, Perrine. I just wanted to mention that as part of this process on the future program, we launched a public consultation, which is closed now. And I just wanted to highlight the fact that this consultation suggests that our stakeholders enjoy working with us and do find in our program a reliable and accessible funding partner. And we intend to keep it that way and to continue working in that spirit of trust with you all in the next programming period. I thought that was a positive outcome of this public consultation, and I wanted to share our state of mind on that.
Thank you, Mathieu. We will now go into the Q&A session based on what our participants have submitted on Slido. So we have one question for you, Anne, about the UK participation, which is, can UK partners still participate in the future program? Maybe you can tell us more about this, Anne. Thank you.
Yes, Perrine, of course, we have to accept the decision of the UK government that they don't want to participate anymore in European territorial cooperation. This is a state decision. we have to live with it. They're now a third country, and we have to see which will be the possibilities of a third country. Perhaps it's also interesting to mention that they chose, for example, to continue their participation in Horizon Europe program, but they didn't want to participate in Erasmus, for example. So their choices made, and unfortunately, cooperation is not among the important issues for the moment for the UK government. So we see as a third country what we can do with them in the future.
Okay, thank you very much, Anne, for this question, and for answering it as clearly as possible. We have one other question, which regards the planning of calls for the future program. I don't know if Mathieu, maybe you want to say a few words about this, or what can be said at this point.
Sure. Maybe just one further comment on the Brexit, because it raises a lot of questions, and I just wanted to mention the fact that we have a Q&A section on our website dedicated to the Brexit, where participants to this meeting might find interesting answers to the questions that you may have in mind. And as Anne said, we will have to see for the participation of UK partners in the future. About the planification of calls, so for the current program, there will be no further calls. So the next calls will be for the future program, and we expect indeed, if everything goes well, to be able to have a first call for projects in the spring of next year.
Thank you very much, Mathieu, for giving the let's say, preliminary planning for the next programming period. We have one other question, which is the following. How will the program deal with the geographical overlaps in other programs? Maybe Anne, you want to say a few words about this?
Yes, perhaps. I think the overlap issue was an important issue in the 2014-20 period. I think what is for us all the challenge for 21-27, that to really show that our programs have their specificities. And there is a real need and challenge for each specific area like Northwest Europe. Because I think, and Mathieu mentioned it also in his introduction, there are common needs, and we are a specific territory with a lot of cities and a lot of carbon issues. So the greener Europe is one of our main issues, and it will be different from other parts of Europe and other Interreg programs, because they will tackle and stress on other issues. So I think the importance is to show that we are a specific area and we have needs, and we will tackle them together, because cooperation is so much needed in this new time.
Thank you. And I think Mathieu wanted to add a few words before I ask a last question for Térence. Go ahead, Mathieu.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Anne. And indeed, you mentioned cooperation. Cooperation happens between stakeholders, but cooperation also happens between programs. And I just wanted to highlight that, yes, there is overlap. And we are discussing a lot with the programs where we are sharing the same geography. And we talk a lot about now in the programming period. We talk about different topics that different programs will support. We talk about the types of projects to be funded in different programs. So this discussion is happening in order to make sure that we complement each other as much as possible. And this discussion between programs will continue during the implementation of the next program. So hopefully we can make the most of these overlaps and work together as Interreg to make it happen in the best possible way.
Thank you, Mathieu. We'll take one last question for Térence before closing this plenary session. And the question is the following one. What will be the definition of impact in the next program? And how will that affect project development, reporting, and success rate of project appraisal?
Thank you for the question. I think that's a very good question. Unfortunately, I must say, as you know, as I said, the discussions are still ongoing, and all what is related to, for example, the indicators still has to be well fine-tuned and defined. And so I will not comment further on this, but I invite you to follow up the updates and to check the website of Northwest Europe.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Térence, and thank you to the three of you for taking part in the discussion this morning. Thank you to you participants and for your numerous questions. We cannot take them all, but you will also have some more detailed information in the breakout sessions, which are coming up in just a few seconds. Like Térence just mentioned, do not hesitate as well to visit our future program webpage for up-to-date content on Interreg Northwest 2021-2027. It is now time to go into your breakout sessions, and to do so and join the session that you registered for, you need to scroll down the webpage that you accessed, and below this video you will find a list of all the 5 breakout sessions. Click on join the session to access the meeting. I will see you again around noon for a short wrap-up of the events. Enjoy the interaction. Welcome back, everyone. And our apologies for the technical difficulties you might have encountered during the roundtable sessions. We nevertheless hope that you had fruitful exchanges and that you were inspired by our project results. Thank you so much for taking part in our webinar this morning. You were over 350 participants with us. This shows strong interest in our results, but also in Interreg Northwest Europe 2021-2027 that all program bodies are currently very intensely working on. As you can see on the screen, there's a dedicated webpage on our website that you can visit for up-to-date content on our next program. Feel free also to browse through our latest online publication, Cooperation in Action, to find out more about our projects and how they are making a difference in Northwest Europe. In this publication, we have some project examples, also some key figures that I'm sure you will enjoy reading. Last but not least, I would like to remind you that we are hosting a second online networking event on Tuesday, 22nd June. Next month, we will focus on an innovative and inclusive Northwest Europe, highlighting projects and programs realizations in the fields of digitalization, smart cities, social innovation, and sustainable food systems. We'll also present what to expect on this topic in the next programming period. You can sign up soon, and we hope that you will join us. Until then, stay in touch on social media. You can find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and you're very welcome to sign up for our newsletter on our website. Thanks again for being here this morning. Have a nice day, and we look forward to seeing you soon.